when we look at this, we think about, hey, how do we maximize our income and what we're using it for? Okay. How do we use this money to supplement what Social Security is not supplementing? And again, pensions out there, they might supplement a little bit, but they're not going to supplement, especially with inflation the way it is and the compounding of inflation. You're not going to be able to supplement all your income from just your pension and Social Security. It's just not going, especially as a couple. Okay. To be able to utilize what you want in retirement out there. And I have some clients who are like, well, I don't need much. Expenses get higher and higher every single year. So you're going to have to adjust for that and adjust for inflation, right? And those are the plans that you have to create to really to sustain income. You have to sustain income down the road and now, and to be able to generate income that can never leave, that can outlast everything. Okay. And people that are taking money out of their 401ks and IRAs and TSBs and 403bs, you've got to find an alternative. And this is where we come in and really specialize that plan towards you. So if you've been taking out money out of your 401k IRA, or you've been thinking about it or plan to down the road, that's where you have to meet us, because that's the most important step, right? Just like Jim said, really from making money to taking money. Okay. And that's a great way to explain it. So again, call us today at 850-565-1705. One more time, 850-565-1705. And we can plan how to take that money out efficiently, but also make sure that it outlasts yourself and make sure the income is maximized for life.
So David, you talk about maximizing income and doing that transition. Jim mentioned it about transitioning from, accumulation to distribution. And I think this is one of the biggest areas where listeners and people we meet with make a mistake. They think they should still be accumulating money, even though they're not contributing like they used to. And then they start taking withdrawals. And you mentioned it quite a bit. And I know it's more on the one-on-one consultations when you talk about sequence of returns, especially when you're taking withdrawals. And I know you went back and you've done the math with folks and clients and listeners and we always say, well, the market's going to come back. It's going to come back. And it does. But when you're taking money out, how does that affect somebody's retirement? In retirement, if they're using those assets, they're keeping them in the market, there's no protection, and yet they're taking withdrawals, and all of a sudden we have corrections in the market. How does that affect somebody that's retired?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, especially in our seminars, and it's great to visualize this. So again, you can reach out to us and actually get one of these little pamphlets that we have, or you can come to our seminars. We have one in Grand Marlin, February 18th, and then also the 24th at 6 p.m. So if that's something that you're interested in, to really go one-on-one and be able to see this live, we buy you a nice dinner. You can sit down. We actually buy you a cocktail as well. Just one for the couples. And you can come in and watch us there. But, one of the most important parts about really the accumulation phase is you're able to buy what's called dollar cost averaging. You're able to buy at certain periods of time to lower your cost basis and to be able to utilize on the maximization of compound interest. You can't do that, right, when you're taking money out. And this is what I just said earlier. If you are taking money out of your 401k or thinking about it, okay, the distribution phase is starting to happen. You have to plan for that. It literally correlates in a mathematical formula the total opposite way. It's a exact inverse correlation to how compound interest works. It actually decumulates as much as it accumulated when you actually used it for retirement. And I always say this, right? When you're retiring, what do you, or when you're working, what are you doing, right? You're let's just say you're putting in $30,000 a year in your 401k. Okay. Let's say that your income was $150,000, right? That's what? 20%. Okay. That's 20% of your income that you're putting in there. All right. Guess what? You're going to need 65% of your income when you retire. Only 35% was what Social Security covers. So now the 20% that you put in, you need 65% every year to come back out. The math doesn't make sense. So if you're pulling money out of your 401ks, IRAs, or you're thinking about it down the road, or that's your plan, which a lot of you that should be the plan, you need to plan it where you can actually have it outlived. Okay. You have to be able to create an income stream and maximize your income on that side. And again, we can sit down, we can help that out. 850-565-1705. Again, 850-565-1705. We can sit down with you. We can go over those numbers and make sure that you're maximizing your income, because that plan is tailored differently towards every single person. It's not going to fit every single person. So you have to understand that expenses are different, income's different, the way that you spend your money is different. Okay. Some people are a little more expenditure than other. So, my wife spends more than I do. I know that. Right. So, again, I love her to death, but there's a lot of things that are different when it comes to when you're spending money versus putting money in. And I'm telling you now, the biggest mistake you can make is taking money out of your 401k, IRA, or spending anything in retirement without having a full plan of the income side. You need to maximize income first. That's the biggest mistake out there.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head, David, because if you look at talking about income and retirement, the two things that we do for folks when we meet them, when we create that plan, is we use the guaranteed plan and an insured plan. So there's no what ifs. There's no, what happens if this, what happens if the country goes to war? These are guaranteed rock solid plans. So when we're sitting down with somebody, we design that income plan in retirement where there's no what ifs. We get rid of the what ifs so they can relax. They can sleep well in retirement. They don't have to stress out if inflation goes up, if we go to war, if we see what's happening in Minnesota. They don't worry about all that because it doesn't affect the income plan. And
Right.
that's one of the things we do for our clients. Get them an income plan that's guaranteed, rock solid, and insured. And they're out there. There's a lot of them out there.